On Nationwide this evening, we visit some of the great locations on the Clare, Tipperary and Galway borders that more and more tourists and Irish people are discovering. I'm off to explore the picturesque area around Lough Derg to see all that it has to offer, from water activities, food and, of course, wonderful, unspoiled countryside. You're very welcome to the programme. Welcome also to Portumna in County Galway. As you can see, I'm at the beautiful Portumna Castle. But today, this is only my starting point because I'm off on an adventure. I'm taking to the waters on Lough Derg in a cruiser, no less. I'm kayaking in Killaloe. I'm tasting local produce. And I'll be dipping into our religious heritage on Holy Island. My first mode of transport is a cruiser. I've come to Portumna Harbour and we're going to get going in a few minutes. First, it was a quick safety briefing by Timmy Walsh. Then we were off. Lough Derg is the third largest lake in Ireland and it's situated in the Shannon River Basin. It's surrounded by three counties, Clare, Galway and Tipperary, and is home to many lakeside towns and villages. Owen Little, you're a man who knows a thing or two about tourism in this area. What is on offer for families who want to get away from it all?
Well, and there's quite a lot on offer. If you wanted to have sort of an action-packed family holiday, you can do anything from, there's a bike park which you can rent out bikes. You can do stand-up paddling, which is really fantastic. There's water skiing on offer. You can do jet skiing in lots of areas. There's even, you can go on a chocolate factory tour, which is beautiful. You know, I've done it with my own kids. So lots on offer for families, and lots of accommodation offerings, from our lovely hotel in the Lakeside Hotel with its 40-metre water slide to there's self-catering apartments around, and there's lots of B&Bs, right up to glamping with Portumna, which is just in Portumna where we've left.
And if somebody were to be taking a cruiser just like this one, what options might you have if you just wanted to ramble around and drop off at certain points along the lake?
Well, it's a good point, Anne. There's lots of stuff to do. They've actually done a lot of work, the local authorities. We actually straddled three counties of Galway, Clare and Tipperary. Yeah. And the local authorities, in conjunction with Waterways Ireland, have upgraded all the amenities in the docking areas. So there's lots of docking areas all around the lake to pull in, and you can go to lovely bars and bistros. It's quite nice, actually, to do. See a bird form a diamond in a rough, see a bird soaring high. It's in your blood. It's in your blood. What we've also worked on within our marketing group with the local authorities is we've done lots of visible signage, which is all branded Lough Derg, and it's brown signage to help you navigate your way around. From beautiful towns such as Kennedy, Terryglass, which we're going to see now, right up through Mount Shannon, Ballina, Killaloe, I have to say, is just stunning, to Drummondere. There's just so many places to see. You know?
On the waters of Lough Derg as we are now, there is an overwhelming sense of nature. I mean, we all strive to get back to nature a little bit in our lives, don't we?
Too true, Anne. I mean, I'm from Dublin, and it's funny, when I came down here first, you're an hour and a half away, and you're into the wilds. And as I said before, you feel rewarded for driving around the lake, and you find a place like Terryglass. You sit with your pint of Guinness by the fire, and you know what? There's no better place to be. Don't ever give up.
Oh, I'd love to have stayed a little bit longer on the water, but I have a very busy day ahead. Thanks a million, Owen.
Not at all, Anne. Enjoy the trip.
Terryglass really is a beautiful village, but I've a busy schedule to keep. A few kilometres inland from the village is my next stop, just outside Ballingarry, where I'm meeting Graham Kenny. Here I am, Bike Park Ireland. Now, I haven't done this kind of cycling before. God knows what's going to happen. Hiya.
Hi, Anne.
You taking me up the trails?
I sure am. Come on, we'll get you sorted with your bike.
Lovely.
Feel so extraordinary. Something's got a hold on me.
Graham, method of transport is certainly novel. How does it work?
Yeah, well, this is our chair lift to bring you up to the top of the trails. So we'll put our bikes up in the trailer and we'll hop into our army truck.
Okay. We need spaces for ours, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I have 2 spots over here.
Okay.
I used to think that the day would never come. I'd see the light in the shade of the morning sun.
We have 2 of these army trucks. They all have 30 bus seats. The trailer then takes 30 bikes. This is our shuttle, our uplift service. Brings everybody up. All these guys get a run down the trails every 15 minutes. We bring them back up. So it's our chairlift.
So I'd say there's an attraction even coming on the army truck as much as the
There
bikes.
is really, yeah.
So coming up in the truck will take us a matter of minutes, I guess?
Yeah, it'll take us 5 or 6 minutes to get up, 5 or 6 minutes to get back down,
Sure.
5 or 6 minutes to load up, and then we're gone again.
So you could be up and down on the truck all day if you wanted.
Yeah, 4 times an hour. We go up about 12 times in the morning, then and then the truck stop for lunch, and then they kick on again in the afternoon and for another 12 runs.
If I'm gonna go down.
Graham, we're at the top of the hill now, and what's the level of difficulty going down?
Look, there's all sorts of levels. We're starting on a beginner trail today, but there's intermediate, there's advanced, there's lots of expert lines, and there's more intermediate trails going in, there's more beginner trails going in now in the summertime. So we're going to start on the green, but any kids from 5-6 years of age can coast on down this trail.
So I'm the beginner, Graham. I'm happy to
Well,
be
you got
there.
to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. You know?
Okay, well I'll get my helmet on and my head off then, right? Okay.
If I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down rocking. I ain't gonna slow down.
Well, Anne, what do you think of that?
I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
thought it was really exhilarating. You're a great teacher.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, so I trusted my instincts, but the bike was so responsive. It was great. Great machine.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, you can see now yourself, if you're here now for half a day and you did that 3 or 4 times, how your confidence would build up and you'd be flying around the place.
Yeah, I might progress
But
to
you
the blue run.
Yeah. No, you did great. Yeah. Well done.
I'm gonna go down rocking.
Well, that certainly was an adventure, but I'm heading back to Lough Derg and the village of Kennedy. I'm absolutely famished after all that activity, boating and biking. This looks like the perfect spot for a bit of lunch. How are you?
Hello ladies, how are you? Hello Anne.
Lovely. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. Hello Anya. Hello. You're very welcome to Gary Kennedy.
Well, sit down with me.
Thank you. Have a look at the menu there.
Thanks a lot. This is a splendid location. I'm really knocked out by it. It must be very popular with tourists, Maura.
It is indeed. It's really popular with locals and tourists. There's some great facilities in the area and indeed along the lake. There's many beautiful places along the lake that you can visit even from Gary Kennedy.
And you have music here?
We
and
have
everything?
music here every week, twice a week during the summer, and on a Sunday, every Sunday of the year, we have music at 7 o'clock.
What's lovely about your pub here is that it's like so many other places on the shores of the lake where you can just drop in and have a pint or some food.
Yes, there's many lovely spots along the lake. Terry Glass is a wonderful spot for food and Irish music. Domineer's another great spot. Killaloe, really lovely. There's many lovely places down in Killaloe.
Because it feeds into the notion that the pub experience for tourists is something that is still proving to be very attractive and that people want.
It is indeed. Tourists love the Irish pub. They love the atmosphere. They love chatting to the locals that are sitting at the counter, and they love enjoying the pint or maybe a local craft beer and music to go along with that.
Is it the case, Maura, then, that the idea is to have as many local producers supplying food here?
Yes, indeed. During the summer months, we have a series of events to promote food and the food businesses all around the lake called A Taste of Lough Derg. We encourage our customers to set their own table and get the supplier in and give a little talk about the history of their product.
Well, do you know what, Maura? It looks good enough to eat.
Enjoy.
I'm on the way to the southern end of the lake now, to Killaloe, Ballina, for some on-the-water activity with Mike Jones, and hopefully at a more leisurely pace. Mike, one of the great pleasures of life is a long, slow kayak. What is there in terms of water sports on Lough Derg?
Oh, there's loads to do, really, depending on what you want. You can get wet by doing things like stand-up paddleboarding or dinghy sailing, or if you like to stay dry, you can maybe join one of the yacht clubs up along the lake or hire a cruiser. And then, of course, there's kayaking, my favourite sport, which we try to stay dry as much as we can, but lots of people like to splash around as well and fall out of the boats and get wet. So there really is a plethora of things to do, and there's something for all ages and shapes and sizes.
What's the response of people, Mike, when they get a handle on how to work the water?
I suppose if you get a handle on it and figure out what's possible on the lakes and on the waterways around here, it's incredible how far you can journey, and you can really start to explore places that you can't get to by many means. Kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, canoes are great ways to get into really remote and almost really wild parts of the waterways. Get onto little islands, use things like the canal here, which is not used a whole lot by motorised craft at all. And you can really start to have really wild adventures and really wild journeys. And Lough Derg, I suppose, to many people is unheard of in terms of the adventure potential that's here. And we're really trying to encourage people to get out, especially in non-motorised craft and things like canoes and kayaks, and get them to explore a little bit. And because you can get up so close to nature like we do here with these ducks.
Are we just frighten them away?
You can see the wildlife in it from a totally different perspective, and you really get a box seat to a lot of really cool wildlife experiences by being this close and being this quiet.
And Mike, what are the plans for expansion in terms of kayaking and water activities?
Well, for me and for my business, one of the most exciting things is something called the Lough Derg Canoe Trail, which is due to launch this coming season. And essentially what that's going to do is provide a waymarked trail like you'd know from walking or from cycling, but on the water, and in particular around the shores of Lough Derg. So it'll circumnavigate the lake. If you just want to go for a day, it'll be broken up into bite-sized chunks, but there is the potential to spend maybe a long weekend or even up to a week exploring and taking in chunks of the lake and exploring and staying in some of the little villages along the way, like Terry Glass and Mount Shannon and Gary Kennedy, and using those as your base for the night. So you can have great food, get some music overnight, and then jump in your kayak again the next day and tour down to Killaloe and have a night here as well.
Sounds delightful. We're going to take a break now, but when we come back, we'll be bringing you more about what's to see and do in this special place that is Lough Derg. We'll see you shortly.
You don't stop working hard, and we won't stop trying to find a better way for you to bank. So we've made a breakthrough. Introducing the new Explore account from Permanent TSB, the only current account in Ireland that gives you cash back in 3 new ways. With 10 cent back as you pay, up to 5% cash back in bills, and personalised offers on some of your favourite brands. Now is the time to make a change. So what's stopping you? Go for it. Switch to the Explore account today. Permanent TSB. Keep going.
Every day, Allianz takes countless journeys with Irish motorists as they dare to live their lives to the full, protecting them against the big mishaps and the small ones. If you're looking for good value motor insurance including breakdown assistance or a handy way to manage your insurance online like My Allianz, call Allianz Insurance today on 014 48 48 48 or visit allianz.ie. Dare to. We're with you.
You're very welcome back to Nationwide. Well, as is so often the case in this country, the rain has come down, but nonetheless, I'm going to experience the lake now aboard the Spirit of Killaloe at a gentle pace.
When the morning light comes streaming in, you'll get up and do it again.
James Whelan, you're taking me on this little trip from the river to the lake.
That's right, Anne. Killaloe and Ballina are centred on the River Shannon, and just a mile behind the town is Lough Derg, the Red Lake. And it's definitely Ireland's finest lake. It stretches for 27 miles up to Portumna. It's got fantastic hills on either side, and it's not to be mistaken with where you go for a pilgrimage. That's in Donegal.
Now today isn't the most clear of days, James, but I mean there's still an awful lot to be seen and a lot to be experienced here. Certainly wildlife and fauna are in abundance.
That's right, you know, thankfully the river is certainly on the mend from a lot of damage that was done in the 70s and 80s. But water quality is improving greatly. It's great that on Lough Derg we've got 2 blue flag beaches, one in Mount Shannon and one here at Killaloe. And you know, if you take a look at the anglers when they pass you by, they're catching beautiful brown trout, and there's tremendous pike in the lake also.
And therefore visitors can identify that, and that makes this place a desirable place to come to for fishing and so forth.
Oh, for certain. Like every day we pass up along the lake, and you'll see now there's a lake boat in front of us. Every day, even in the winter months, there are anglers coming from overseas. The guest houses get the benefit from that, the pubs get the benefit from that, but it's great that they're here and they're catching beautiful fish, and thankfully it's on catch and release. They put them straight back in.
And what are the main places that you would point out to people when they're taking this trip?
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate in Killaloe and Ballina that we're steeped in history. You know, from the early times when the Vikings used this river to access places like Clonmacnoise and that. But in general, our sightseeing cruise it's the spectacular views is what people are coming from. It's a fabulous part of Ireland. The lake is a great asset to have on our doorstep, and so many people will travel with us a couple of times a year.
And it's a gentle way to travel, and not only is it a gentle way, it's a way that people of all ages can enjoy it.
Oh, for certain, yeah. I mean, I always say whether you're 8 months old or whether you're 80 years old, the boat is suitable. You're not bounced around or anything like that. But it highlights what tourism can do for rural Ireland. It's so important.
From Ballina, Killaloe to Mount Shannon, I've crossed from Tipperary to County Clare. Time now to be a pilgrim for a little while in Lough Derg, because I'm going to cross the water to that island there, Holy Island, to see a monastic settlement in the company of Ger Madden. Take it away, Ger.
Thank you.
So what are we going to see out in the island, Ger?
You will see the ruins of 7 churches, a round tower, probably the best collection of 12th century grave markers in Ireland, 3 high crosses, holy well, bull-iron stones, a bargaining stone where you shake hands through it and woe betide anyone that will break a deal there. Lots of enclosures and that, and probably 45 acres of pristine country land.
And a holy place.
Certainly a holy place, yes. No question about that. No question about that.
There really is a great sense of stillness and silence here, Ger. I can understand why it's a holy place.
Well, it certainly is. The recorded history of this place begins about 500 AD. There were over 1,500 years of history here, of holiness here. You have 500 years or 600 years of development, between 500 and 1,100, most of the buildings that you see now, date from that period.
And in terms of the status of the settlement, it's a small island, the buildings are very important, and they were part of a series of settlements along the Shannon.
Oh, of course, yeah, from Killaloe to Chungranny to Holy Island, Terryglass, Lough, right away up to Clonmacnoise. They're all in daily communication, I'm sure, with one another.
And give me the Brian Boru connection.
Brian Boru was born down in Killaloe about 941 AD. In 1002 he became High King of Ireland, and for the next 12 years he was High King of Ireland. Killaloe was the capital of Ireland within 12 years, not Dublin. But as I said, during his time, his brother Markin was here, so all money was bestowed on this place.
And this cemetery, very, very old. Is it still in use?
It's not so much now. This is the Saints' graveyard, probably the most famous graveyard in Europe. It's unique in the sense that you have 128 grave markers here that have never been disturbed, and they're all there since the 12th century. You also have that beautiful church there, the remains of a church, the Church of the Wounded Men. And back behind me here, there is the base of a high cross, and written in the high cross is the grave of the 10 men. But that graveyard is, as I said, unique.
And how do people respond when they come here? Do they come with a sense of pilgrimage?
I suppose everybody that goes to a monastic site presently is actually a pilgrim, whether they realise it or not themselves. It's not a tourist site as such, it's a pilgrim site, and anyone that visits these places, they get the sense of peace and tranquility and that in it, and if they have the guidebook and they read up on it, like they're actually modern day pilgrims.
To end my day, I've doubled back to the village of Killaloe. Well, it's been a very long but enjoyable day, and I have one last visit to make before we turn in. So I'm going to nip in here to Flanagan's pub. Quinn, I'm told the whisky tour is a must-see here in Killaloe. What do you have for us?
Well, Anne, as you can see, we're here in the Whisky Tower at Flanagan's on the Lake here in Ballina, Killaloe. And we're surrounded by a fantastic collection of the drop of whisky. And here in Flanagan's, we have a large collection of Irish, Scottish and American whisky. And what we like to do is we like to tell the story. We like to tell the story of whisky, where it came from, how it got to where it is now today.
And what is the story?
Well, the story is a fascinating story of Irishness, of culture, of time, mostly time. So it began 500 years ago, and the monks themselves discovered whisky in one of the round towers, not dissimilar from the round stone tower that we have here in Ballina. And one fine day, luckily for us, one of the monks managed to distill Ishkabaha, the water of life. And from there, the story moves forward to eventually becoming whisky, Irish whisky, Scottish whisky, and finally American whisky.
And what's the differentiation between Scottish and Irish whisky?
Well, there's many differences. The primary difference is that Irish whisky is distilled 3 times, triple distilled. Scottish will be twice, and American single, although that is changing. The whole market is changing. Whisky is exploding at the moment, as you probably know. None more so than Irish. Irish whisky has new distilleries opening up all over the country right now. So there's a huge interest, and people are intrigued as to why Irish whisky is what it is and how come it's the best.
The tower here and the tour taps into that revival of whisky in Ireland. How is that manifesting itself in terms of what you offer people?
Well, what we do here is we offer people whisky tours. So we have tours for the novice, for the connoisseur and for the experts. We do master classes. We have some of the distilleries that come here to us to do some of their classes and introduce new whiskies. We really are a lightning rod for an awful lot of the new whiskies that are coming out at the moment, and what it does is it provides people the opportunity to get access to whiskies that maybe their local bar won't stock. It's very difficult to stock all the whiskies all the time. But some are leaders, some whiskies are coming to the fore, and by coming to the Whisky Tower and exploring whisky, you get to find maybe the one that you like, and that's what it's about. It's about reintroducing people to the incredible varieties and the flavours and depths and nuances of whisky, because it's a fantastic word. Okay, and well, you've been a very good student, and as such, I'd like you to present you with your masterclass certificate from the Whisky Tower here at Flanagan's. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cathal. Well, now that I have my certificate, I can certify that a trip around Lough Derg is an absolute must. I have had an amazing time. And so, from all of us on the Nationwide team, good evening. On next Wednesday's Nationwide, the Monaghan team behind the app designed to support people with special needs. And on the week of the Young Scientist and Technology competition, we meet past winners to find out about their winning ways.
The Operation Transformation leaders face the scales to see if their hard work has paid off on Wednesday and Thursday at 8:30 here on 1. Next tonight, a look back at the history of Irish coalitions